rod of high quality glass designed to guide light along its length by total internal reflection?
Block prism.
No.
Triangle prism.
No. The right answer is optical fiber. Optical fibers. My question to Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, according to scientific law, what is neither created nor destroyed but only changed in form? According to scientific law, what is neither created nor destroyed but only changed in form?
Energy.
Good. Question to Eden Secondary School. Eden, the smallest unit of time is? The smallest unit of time is?
Second.
No.
Millisecond.
No. The right answer is microsecond. Microsecond. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the forces that act on magnetic materials and electric current is called? The forces that act on magnetic materials and electric current is called?
Electromagnetic force.
Good. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, is the upward push acting on an object when immersed in liquid or a gas is called? Is the upward push acting on object when immersed in a liquid or a gas is called?
Upthrust.
Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the force that causes a liquid to behave like a stretched membrane is called? The force that causes a liquid to behave like a stretched membrane is called?
Surface tension.
Good. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, a quantity which is defined as mass per unit volume is? A quantity which is defined as mass per unit volume is?
Density.
Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Dash is the part of a line which extends without an end in one direction only. Dash is the part of a line which extends without an end in one direction only. The right answer is ray. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, atom of the same elements that contains different numbers of neutrons is called? Atoms of the same elements that contains different numbers of neutrons is called?
Isotopes.
Good. Question to Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the angle formed by two radii of a circle at the center is called? The angle formed by two radii of a circle at the center is called?
An arc.
What?
Arc. An arc.
No. The right answer is central angle. Central angle. And that is all with physics question. I'm moving to chemistry question. My first chemistry question goes to Eden Secondary School. Eden, a device used to measure the concentration of sugar in solution is called? A device used to measure the concentration of sugar in a solution is called?
Iodine.
No. The right answer is saccharometer. Saccharometer. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the number of moles of solute present in 1 kilogram of solvent is called? The number of moles of solute present in 1 kilogram of solvent is called?
Molar mass.
Can you try again, something of that kind?
Molar solution.
Okay, we call it molality. Molality. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, the metal that is used as a catalyst in a hydrogenation of oil is called. The metal that is used as a catalyst in a hydrogenation of oil is called.
Iron.
No?
Sodium.
No? The right answer is nickel. Nickel. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the lowest temperature that can be attained theoretically is called. The lowest temperature that can be attained theoretically is called.
Minimum temperature.
No?
Absolute temperature.
Good. The absolute zero temperature. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, immediately and temporary treatment to the victim is called. Immediately and temporary treatment to the victim is called.
First aid.
Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. The color of the blue litmus paper in acidic media is. The color of the blue litmus paper in acidic media is.
Red.
Good. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, the common name of sodium chloride is called. The common name of sodium chloride is called.
Table salt.
Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the process by which living organisms manufacture their own food by using energy from the chemical reaction is called. The process by which living organisms manufacture their own food by using energy from the chemical reaction is called.
Respiration.
No?
Photosynthesis.
No? The right answer is chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, the study of carbon and hydrogen only is called. The study of carbon and hydrogen only is called.
Hydrogen carbon.
Good. Or we can say hydrocarbons. You are very right. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, Forum is the Latin name of which element? Forum is the Latin name of which element?
Iron.
Good. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, the electromotive force induced in a conductor is directly proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux. This law of electromagnetic induction is called. The electromotive force induced in a conductor is directly proportional to the rate of change in magnetic flux. This law of electromagnetic induction is called.
Faraday's law.
Faraday's law. Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. The mixing yellow and blue light, which color is formed? When mixing yellow and blue light, which color is formed?
White.
Good. And that marks the end of chemistry questions. I'm moving directly to biology questions very fast. My first biology question goes to Eden Secondary School. Eden, the study of soil, animals, and vegetation and their relationship to one another is called. The study of soil, animals, and vegetation and their relationship to one another is called.
Soil chemistry.
No?
Ecosystem.
No?
Ecology.
No?
Balance of nature.
Biography. The last answer is biography. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the study of internal structure of living organism is called. The study of internal structure of living organisms is called.
Cytology.
No? The right answer is anatomy. Anatomy. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, the genetic makeup of an organism is called, the genetic makeup of an organism is called?
Genotype.
Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Development period between childhood and adulthood is called? Development period between childhood and adulthood is called?
Adolescence.
Good. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, the powerhouse of the cell is called? The powerhouse of the cell is called?
Mitochondria.
Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the membrane that surrounds the vacuole is called? The membrane that surrounds the vacuole is called?
Cell membrane.
No?
Cytoplasm.
No? The right answer is tonoplast. Tonoplast. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, the hereditary disease in which the blood cell does not clot is called? The hereditary disease in which the blood cells does not clot is called?
Hemophilia.
Good. Question to Rodan Secondary School. Filtration process is an application of? Filtration process is an application of?
Urine formation.
No. The right answer is osmosis. Question to Eden Secondary School. Eden, in which phylum does the agama lizard belongs? In which phylum does the agama lizard belongs?
Reptile.
No?
Chordata.
Good. Question 2, Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, in which class does the bat belongs? In which class does the bat belongs?
Class Fs.
What?
Class Fs.
No?
Chordata.
No. The right answer is class Mammalia or Mammal. Mammalia or Mammal. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Dash are organisms that allow fish to breathe underwater. Dash organs that allows fish to breathe underwater.
Gills.
Good. Dear viewer, this is IQ Inter-School Challenge on Air. And I'm having my 2 secondary schools. I'm having Rodan Secondary School from Mwanza. I'm also having Eden Secondary School from Mwanza. You can also participate in this program by sending for us your request for participation through the numbers which are there displayed on your screen. But you can also make follow-up on this program by just following the media accounts which are there displayed on your screen as well. Now I'm moving to geography questions. My first geography question goes to Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the largest planet in the solar system is called? The largest planet in the solar system is called?
Jupiter.
Good. Question to Eden Secondary School. Eden, the practice of intercropping trees and crops in the same farm is called? The practice of intercropping trees and crops in the same farm is called?
Mixed farming.
No?
Intercropping.
No?
Crop rotation.
No? We can say mixed farming or agroforestry. Question 2. Rodan Secondary School. Dash is the ratio between the distance on the map and the distance on the ground. Dash is the ratio between the distance on the map and the distance on the ground.
Scale.
Good. Question 2, Eden Secondary School. Eden, dash. Eden, what is the name given to the atmospheric layer which is characterized by high coldness? What is the name given to the atmospheric layer which is characterized by high coldness?
Jibuni zote. Stratosphere.
No?
Jibu nyingine.
Ionosphere.
No?
Exosphere.
No?
Mesosphere.
Good. Question to Rodan Secondary School. Rodan, the gas present in atmosphere which filter out some of the sun's ultraviolet lights and provide an effective shield against radiation damage to living things is called? The gas present in atmosphere which filters out some of the sun ultraviolet lights and provide an effective shield against radiation damage to living things is called?
Ozone.
Good. My question to Eden. An angular distance measured in degree east and west of the prime meridian is called? An angular distance measured in degree east and west of the prime meridian is called?
Longitude.
Good. Rodan, a type of photography taken diagonally from the uplifted future is called? A type of photography taken diagonally from the uplifted future is called?
Aerial photography.
No?
Vertical photography.
No?
Oblique.
Good. My question to Eden Secondary School. Eden, the state of land being dry and receiving very low amount of rainfall is called? The state of land being dry and receiving very low amount of rainfall is called?
Desertification.
No?
Drought.
No? We call it aridity. Aridity. Question 2. Rodan Secondary School. My time is off. The planet which in the solar system which support life is called? The planet which in the solar system which support life is called?
S.
Good. And my last question to Eden Secondary School. The spinning movement of a body on its axis is called? The spinning movement of a body on its axis is called?
Rotation.
Good. Last but not least, my question to Rodan. The nearest position of the earth to the sun is known as? The nearest position of the earth to the sun is known as?
Perihelion.
Good. And my last question too. Eden. Dash incorporated the colonization. Dash incorporated the colonized people constitutionally as a French subject. Dash incorporated the colonized people constitutionally as French subject.
Assimilation policy.
Good. Dear viewer, that marks the end of the first season of Q&A. And when we come back, we will have presentations from both two schools. We were with our beloved schools, Rodan Secondary from Mwanza and also Eden Secondary from Mwanza. Can you clap for them for good participation? Dear viewer, we are back in this second season of IQ Inter-School Challenge. And today we are going to have a very nice presentation from Rodan Secondary School. Rodan are going to present for us a very good teaching on what we call poverty. Here, they are going to enlighten poverty. They are going to give us courses, strategies to do with poverty, and all of that. I'm highly welcoming you to start with us and end with us on this presentation. Dear, can you please introduce yourself in a very short word?
My name is Eric Peter. My name is Wilson Gudal.
My name is George Konzo.
My name is Jacobo Ivodi.
My name is Zeta Jafet. My name is Theodora Masanja.
And from there, they are going to give us that nice presentation. Please, you can go.
Hello. Okay, all right. I would like just to say thank you for we have been given this chance to speak in front of you. In front of you are students from Rodan Secondary School. They to present to you a common and continuous lesson or topic that is conducted in our daily life situation that is known as poverty. In short way, I can say that poverty is just the inability to acquire or achieve some of the special requirements or important needs to fulfill or reach a certain goal. Now, it can be individual or national at large. Now let me welcome my fellow to present more about the levels of poverty.
There are only two levels of poverty, which are at national level and individual level. And national level is whereby a country or a nation, they depend economically in external aids in providing the basic needs to the people and in government expenditures, for example, providing social services to the people. At individual level is whereby a person or an individual is unable to afford his or her basic needs, for example, food, shelter, and clothes. Let me take this opportunity to welcome my fellow to explain more about.
The following are the types of poverty. We have two types of poverty. We have absolute poverty. This is a kind of poverty which encounter a whole country. This is whereby the whole country lacks the resources. This is characterized by the per capita income which is less than $10 per day per head. The second one is called relative. This is a type of poverty which characterizes some part of country. This also have the character such as it is main per capita income is less than $10. I would like to welcome my friend for more causes of poverty.
Proceeding with the causes of poverty. There are various causes of poverty. First, we can start with war. War can cause poverty in how? This is because when a certain country has conflict in its state, this will lead the country to lose its materials, which will cost a lot of money for construction. Example, construction of railways and the infrastructures. This will cause the country to use a lot of money for construction, hence cause poverty. Also, political instability. This can cause poverty in how? This because when there is poor political stabilities, the leaders will conduct corruptions in their leadership so that they can get money. Hence, the country will lack money for its services. Also, natural disasters. Example of natural disasters is like earthquakes and floods. This can cause poverty in how? When they will occur an earthquake in a certain place, the country will need to take some money so that it can go and regain the broken area. This will cause the country to lack money to conduct other projects like construction or service of infrastructures. Also, poverty can be caused by lack of high literacy rates. Literacy rates are the number of people who are employed in a certain country. So when there is low amount of people who are educated, this will cause poverty because people will not have more skills to conduct their activities like agriculture. Also, poverty can be caused by laziness. This is how, when people stay without working and they just waiting for somebody to work for them, that will cause poverty, hence will make them lack basic needs. Therefore, let me welcome my fellow to proceed more about poverty.
Okay, thank you. Let me resume from where my friend has ended. I explained to you about the effect of poverty. The effect of poverty may be classified political effect, social effect, and economic effect, but I'm going to tell you generally. By starting the first effect of poverty, it causes increase of mortality rate. When you talk about mortality rate, this is whereby there is increase of deaths, for example, deaths of infants and mothers. This mostly happen in hospital. For instance, in a certain hospital, they may lack personnel like doctors, they may lack instruments like incubators. So this will cause increase in death. And the second effect of poverty is that it causes increase of corruption in a country. Corruption mostly occurs because the people of a certain country or citizen may lack enough resources or they may have low income. So they may depend on their politicians for giving them corruption so that they may gain votes in election. Another effect of poverty in most of our country is that poverty causes poor infrastructures or underdevelopment in terms of infrastructures. For example, for instance, when we talk about there is some area in our country, they lack roads, they lack bridges, they lack good facility for transport. This is due to poverty. Most of African countries, for example, South Sudan, they depend from assistance from abroad. And the sad effect of poverty is that it causes a country to be dependent from donors. For example of donors, we have USA and Canada. These donors assist most of African countries in most areas. For example, they donate different facility in education. They donate also in health services by giving us personnel, which causes our country to be dependent. This is not good for our country. Another effect is that increase in illiteracy rate. Illiteracy rate is whereby a country has few people who are educated. This is very bad because when we have uneducated people, the country may become underdeveloped because it may lack different people like engineers until we wait from assistance from abroad so that they can build infrastructure like bridges. For instance, most of the engineers in African countries are being brought from China. This is because of poverty. Most of African countries are poor. They lack money for educating themselves so that they may become engineers. Thank you. Let me welcome my fellow to continue with the strategies for poverty alleviation.
Okay. Proceeding where my fellow student has ended, I'm speaking about measures or strategies of poverty alleviation in our country, Tanzania. Firstly, improvement of science and technology. This is whereby maybe in industry they can use machines, high quality machines instead of low quality machines, which can increase the rate of production in our country. Another point is improvement of infrastructure. Infrastructure is speaking about transportation facilities like roads and communication. So when transport is improved, it may increase the rate of production. For example, roads from rural to urban areas. These transport facilities help in transportation of agriculture products, maybe from rural areas to urban areas for marketing. Another point is
provide education to the society. This will alleviate poverty by when the society gets education, for example, of water resources and water management. Another is electricity. People, they will not destroy these sources because it support different activities like trade. Many activities in our country depend on electricity and water. Okay. Another is people to engage in different activities. As my fellow students speaking about laziness, there are some individuals in our countries that are so lazy. So if we want to improve, to alleviate poverty in our country, people to engage in different activities, that is illiterate or literate. Another is people to engage in agriculture activities. This will help our country to not buy food in other countries. For example, maybe in crisis of COVID-19, if in our country there was lack of enough food. Thank you.
Okay, as it is hard, I would like just to say that for the community to avoid the problem of poverty, now everyone in the community has to take necessary steps on how to do so as to minimize or reduce the number of poor people, or to reduce the poverty problem in the community. And also the government has to take necessary steps, especially to keep on fighting against the corruption and the provision of education to the society, especially through mass media and the mass media like magazine and the news magazine and the television, to help people and educate the people on poverty and how to avoid the poverty, so as to make everyone in the community to live in a safe and a conducive life. Thank you.
Yeah, and that marks the end of that presentation from Rodan Secondary School. They have taught us over what is called poverty. They have given us the strategies of poverty. They have even given us the side effects of poverty. And of course, I'm very sure that we have heard them well and we have been taught. Now, let me move to another side. And here we are going to have a very, very good presentation from Eden Secondary School. Eden, you can now proceed.
My name is Matthew Matar from Eden.
My name is Joyce Patch from Eden.
My name is Evelyn Jacob from Eden.
My name is Teddy Onesmo from Eden.
Yeah. In front of you, we came to represent about a social reality on the side of poverty and honest of these poor people. So, in our country, we have several poor people. So we're going to tell on how these poor people are honest despite of their poorness. So I'll give a story that is involving two people. That is the poor man and the rich man. One day, there was a certain poor man sitting beside the house of a rich man. That day was very cold, in such that everybody could be in the house. All people would have big jackets to cover their bodies in order to protect themselves from cold. So when the rich man came from work, he got that poor man out of his house. He parked the car beside of the gate and went to see that poor man. When he reached there, asked the poor man, hey man, why are you staying out here and you have nothing to cover your body while it's very cold? Then the poor man replied, I'm just staying out here and I'm used to such kind of situation because always I stay out. I stay in wet areas even if it's raining because already I'm used to such kind of situation because I have nothing and I have nowhere to live or to cover my body. So the poor man was asked by the rich man, are you comfortable with the situation? The poor man replied, I'm not comfortable, but I have nothing to do since I'm not capable for affording the coat or anything that will protect me away from cold, and I have nowhere to stay. Even the food I eat I just depend on people. Then the rich man was very sorry for the poor man. He then got in his house and told the poor man that, let me get inside and get a coat and something for you to eat and protect yourself from cold. So when the rich man got inside, as you know, the rich people have a lot of things to do out of work, even when they're working. So when the rich man lived in his house, he started doing other stuff. And he forgot that there is somebody somewhere waiting for his help, that he had promised him that I'm getting inside to bring a coat to cover his body, while outside it was very cold. So the rich man, he spent a lot of time doing other things rather than to remember that there is a poor man outside who is waiting for that help from him of a coat and something to eat. So when he stayed there for a long time, the poor man kept waiting outside. He never went inside the house to remind the rich man that there is something he had promised him before. So he waited out, since in that rich man's house there were guards, so he couldn't even enter in that house. So when he waited for some time, the cold defeated the poor man. Then the poor man, he wrote a certain memo. Then he held it in his hand. At a time when the condition became too tough for him, his body wasn't able to resist that cold, and that poor man died. After there, the rich man continued with his activities in the house. He took food, everything, he finished the other stuffs, and after finishing, he got to bed up to the next morning. The next morning, he woke up. But when he woke up, he remembered that the last night, there is somebody I told something out of the house. But indeed, I forgot. So what should I do? He said, there is no way out. I just need myself to get out of this house because I need to get to work. So no way out. When he came out of his house, into the car, out of the gate, he parked the car and went to see where that poor man was. When he reached there, he got the poor man as laid down. He thought maybe the poor man is just asleep, or he has just fallen asleep for some time. Then he tried to awake the poor man, but unfortunately, the poor man was already dead. So the rich man, he started checking that poor man. Maybe he had something that he had left for him, because there's a promise he made, and he never fulfilled that such kind of promise. And the poor man lived depending on that promise. So when the rich man was checking the poor man, he got a certain memo that was caught in his hand. As you know, the person who has died, and if the person has died that has crossed the fingers and has held something, it's very hard for opening those fingers of that dead person. Okay? So he tried his level best, but at last he succeeded and opened the end of that poor man, of the dead poor man. He got a certain memo written. I'm quoting what was written there. You promised me a coat, that you would bring me a coat and some food to protect me from cold and the hunger I had. But unfortunately, you never did. That is what has made me to die, because I had a certain mechanism of protecting my body from cold. But since you promised me that you want to bring a coat and food for me, I had no way out, and I had any method to protect myself from cold, rather than staying and waiting for you to bring for me food and the coat. So this means that the poor man was able to protect himself from cold, maybe by hibernation, undergoing a deep sleep to regain heat. Or he could have hid it somewhere to protect him from cold. Also, on the side of food, he could have gone in the garbages to find food to eat. But unfortunately, he never did all that, but he was just waiting for the rich man to come from his house and provide those things for him. So the rich man regretted, why did I promise something but I never fulfilled? It was a little fault of the rich man that he promised something but he never succeeded. Okay. Apart from that, I would like to welcome my fellow to continue with the same topic, but on the side of the honest of these poor people. Apart from these people being poor, but still they're very honest, and they pay back. They give back to those people that have helped them at the past, since they have nothing to do. So I would like to welcome my fellow who is going to give at least a short description about what goes around comes around. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. This is all bounded by Justin Timberlake, someone who tried to emphasize about what goes around comes around, and he has tried to portray this in most of social medias. So Justin Timberlake tried to portray this act whereby one man was very poor and lived across the streets, and this man had only work of requesting help. We term him as a beggar. So what he could afford was just begging for food, begging for money and help for his survival. So it reached a day whereby in God's plan came a woman who gave the man a lot of money. So by the time the woman was about to drop some amount of money in the park, she dropped a ring. She was someone's fiancé. So the dropped ring entered in the park, and by that time the woman didn't realize about that thing. But by the time the woman was dropping the money, the old man asked the woman, "Hey, hello, where do you work?" Then the woman replied that she works down street. After knowing that, the woman went. The man remained knowing that she is helped by the woman who works down street. So at evening, the man was now taking amount of money that he has received to purchase some of food. Then he found out inside the park there is a ring. Then he wondered, where did this ring come? He tried to memorize and remember that the woman who dropped the money maybe is the one who has dropped the same ring. So the man decided that, let me go to find down street, as she said that she works there. Then if I get her, I'll have to return the amount, the ring, because the intention of the woman was to give out the money, not the ring. Something that made the man to return mostly the ring is that the time the woman was giving the ring, she told the man one important thing, that what goes around comes around. That was the fact that touched the soul of the man. So the man decided to walk down the street finding the woman. It took almost 3 days for the man to find the woman, but looked at the ring and went to the shop to check how much cost it was. Then the man discovered that the ring was very expensive. The ring was very expensive, that if he sells the ring, will get more money and he could move from the life of starvation to rich time. Then after there, the man tried to find, then by God's plan, the man found the woman. And after there, asked the woman that, thank you for giving me this ring, the amount of money, but here is your ring. Then the woman wondered, why did you give it back? Then the man was like, what goes around comes around. Then the woman felt proud. All this we say to keep your mind and your souls in trust. I remember my mom told me one thing, that be faithful until your death. So I keep it inside your souls. Do the same. Be blessed.
I'm very sure that they have taught us something on what goes around comes around. Understood? Now, after having that wonderful presentation, dear viewer, let me just inform you that that will mark the end of this program for today. You were with your presenter, George Davidson, and we were having 2 secondary schools from Mwanza. I had Rodan Secondary School from Mwanza, and also I had Eden Secondary School from Mwanza as well. Dear viewer, you can contact us and share with us your idea through the phone numbers which are there displayed on our screen, but you can also follow us through the media accounts which are there displayed on our screen as well. Now, let me leave you and say bye for now.
Leo kwenye Bonga na Star.
Nikasema kwa nini nibakie hivi na mimi nina talent yangu kwenye roho yangu na nataka hicho kitu. Naweza kusema kitu cha kwanza, ndoa yangu ya kwanza mimi ni muziki.